Hello everybody, my name is Jordan Evans. I'm a full-time music teacher and piano player, and in these videos I want to make the easiest guide to learning rhythms I possibly can. Growing up, reading musical rhythms was so challenging for me, and it really wasn't until college that I learned how to do it effectively. I would just rely on my ear, I would hear the rhythms and copy them, but I could never really read them and understand them. So if you're in a similar position, you've just always wanted to read music, check out these videos. I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible. So you might have seen musical rhythms before that look really challenging, stuff like this, and it seems impossible. How can anyone read this? It's just gibberish. But if you can read the English language, kind of like this, there's a really good chance you can also read stuff like this because it's more similar than you might think. So in today's video, I'm actually going to use just one musical term. Everything else is going to be stuff you already know. And then in the next video, I'm just going to substitute out the actual music terms for the words that you already know. So the only musical term I'm going to teach you all day today is tempo. And tempo just means how fast or slow our beat is going, but it has to stay the same. So I'm going to demonstrate right here on my iPad, and I have something called a metronome. I definitely recommend getting a metronome if you're not familiar with this. There's a couple good ways to practice learning how beats work, and I'll just show you real quick. So we could have a slow tempo. So this is what it would sound like, but it's steady. Think about how when you're walking at a steady pace, or your heartbeat, or the ticking of a clock, it's constant. Da, da. And all of our favorite songs fall into this, or it can be a fast tempo. Ba, ba, dum, bum, bum. So tempo can be fast, tempo can be slow, it can be right in the middle, but it has to stay the same. So just think of your favorite, I'll think of a tune. Staying alive, staying alive. Kind of like that. And it has to stay the same. So a good trick for this is just listen to the radio in the car or any of your favorite songs and see if you can find where that beat is, and just trying to find where the beats in the music are and find what the tempo of the piece is. It might be hard at first, but the more you practice, you'll be able to find right away where it's at. So now we're going to actually start learning rhythms in music. So now we just need a word that takes one syllable. We're going to use blue. Say the word blue. Blue. And we're just going to say it 4 times, just like a sentence. A weird and rather strange sentence, albeit, but we're just going to say the word 4 times. Blue, 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 blue. And I want you to practice that right now, wherever you're at. Blue, 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 blue. End of the sentence. Notice that the first blue is capitalized, just like we would in any language. We capitalize the first letter to show importance. And so, just like that, in music, our first blue is important. So we're going to put a little bit of emphasis on it. And now let's try and do it 3 times in a row, putting a little bit of emphasis on that blue every time. Blue, 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 blue. Very good. And if you want, you can pause the video, give it a try all on your own. Now we're going to translate that same exact thing into music. And don't worry, I'm not going to talk about any of the musical terms yet. We're going to break that down next time. But for right now, I want you to look at this music and then try the same exact thing. So I'm going to give us a count in to see what our tempo is, and then you try it with me. 1, 2, ready, go. Blue, 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 blue. Awesome job. So just like that, you're actually already reading sheet music, and it's so important to understand how the tempo works, because then we can plug all of our other stuff in really easily. So now that you're actually pretty good at counting music, let's start talking about subdivision. So we can take this blue and we can turn it into 2 syllables. Let's just say the word jello. Picture blue, jello. And notice how I said jello. I'm not saying jello in the same blue, blue, jello. The jello takes place in the exact same amount of time as the blue. So you say blue. Let me set up a tempo. 1, 2, ready, go. Blue, jello, blue, jello. Now you give that a try with me. 1, 2, ready, go. Blue, jello, blue, jello. Let's just try it once and then I'll explain it. But see if you can get it with me on your first try. 1, 2, ready, go. Blue, jello, blue, jello, jello, blue, jello, blue. So going into our second sentence is kind of challenging actually. And you can see in that musical sense that there's one box, and that's our first sentence. The next box starts with a capital J, so that's where you can see our sentence starts again. I said I wouldn't get technical, but in music we call this the downbeat, the start of our sentence, the strong part. So it is challenging to go from jello, jello in a row. So you might need to just practice that. Jello, jello. But let's try it one more time. Anytime you see jello, you just say jello. Anytime you see blue, just say blue. Like I said, next episode, I will actually be talking about what kind of notes these are and how we can functionally use them and just understanding them. But for right now, this is a great way to start counting them. So 1, 2, ready, go. Blue, jello, blue, jello, jello, blue, jello, blue. And take the time to practice that a couple times. Really make sure that you understand and you're confident switching between your blue, jello, blue, jello. So, believe it or not, you actually have a lot of knowledge right now. Just understanding how blues and jellos work, you could read a lot of music. Now I want to talk about something a little bit more complicated, but we're just going to dip our toes into it. Everything we've talked about up to this point is in sets of twos, or divisible by 2, so we counted in twos. So notice even our sentence had 4 words that is divisible by 2. Blue and jello is just 1 and 2. But in music, that's called a simple meter, and meter is just how we count music. Simple is anything that's divided in twos. A really challenging concept that I'm going to make really easy for you is called a compound meter. Compound just means we count it in threes, and that's pretty much all we're going to talk about it today. So a simple meter is counted in twos, compound meters counted in threes. So let's take our blue jello and put them together so it feels like a 3. Make this a little bit easier, just count to 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and do it a couple times in a row. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And now let's just substitute that with blue jello, blue jello. You try it one time. Blue jello, blue jello, blue jello, blue jello. And now I'm going to pull up the sheet music for that. And notice the first blue is in all capitalization. So this is our downbeat like we talked about earlier. This is our strong beat. But notice the next blue also has a capital letter, because sometimes compound meters will actually feel like a strong beat. And you've heard this before. It's got like a swing to it. Blue jello, blue jello, blue jello, blue jello. And that's how we get the music of a compound meter. So just let's try that a couple times. 1, 2, or it'll count like this. I'm just gonna give us a count and don't get afraid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bum. That's where we'll start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Blue jello, blue jello, blue jello, blue jello. And that's all we're gonna do with compound for right now, I promise. So now that we know a lot more than you think we do, I'm gonna put some examples up. Pause it if you need to, and just try and work through it on your own, and then I'll give you the answers. So here's the first example. So for this one, you can see we just have blues, and you can see that there's 2 sentences in here, because you can see there's 4 blues and then 4 blues. So we're gonna set up a tempo, and it can be fast or slow tempo. So it'll be 1, 2, ready, go. Blue, 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 blue. Awesome job. Let's try another one. So this one's going to have blues and jello. So I really recommend pausing the video, just seeing if you can figure out how the blue jellos work. All right, I'm going to count it with you so you can see how you did. 1, 2, ready, go. Blue, jello, blue, jello, blue, blue, jello, blue. All right, we're going to do one more example. This is how we'll actually mostly see music unless you're like a drummer, but you'll typically see the music spread out across the treble clef, and I just programmed in a melody that you might see. So let's try this one together. 1, 2, ready, go. Blue, jello, blue, jello, blue, blue, jello, blue. You see, it's the same thing. It does look a little bit more challenging seeing the notes across the staff, but just know, rhythms are constant. No matter where they're located on the staff, we always read them the exact same. If you made it to this part of the video, congratulations. I hope this has been helpful. All the things that we've talked about today, we know how to count blues, we know how to count the jellos, we know how to understand music as a sentence, we know how what tempo is, we know what simple meters are, what compound meters are, which is like several weeks of a theory course if you were to take something like that. So check out the next video where I'm going to take these same blues, jellos, and I'm going to teach you how to convert them into quarter notes and eighth notes, and we're going to go into some more complicated rhythms as well. So if you like the video and you want to see more stuff, be sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment. I'd love to connect with you. Learning rhythms does not have to be hard. I want to make it as easy as possible. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to hear them. Keep practicing your rhythms, and I'll see you next time.